And welcome to the Jeremy Womack Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Womack, and on today's show, we have Miss Alicia Perrone. Did I say it correctly?
You did.
Okay, I want to make sure. Perrone and Victor James. You can't see him right now, but he's over there.
I am over here.
He's over there. They are of fans of Jiminy Century. Alicia does the vocals, melody, and lyrics, and Victor does guitar, keyboards, programmer, composer, producer, engineer, like a ton of stuff.
I'm the main guy.
You're the main guy? It's starting already.
Oh, yeah, it'll keep going.
That's good. I like that kind of...
That sexual tension.
Yeah, you can cut it with the knife, you know?
Yeah.
So, Fans of Jiminy Century has been out in Vegas for a couple of years now, correct?
Yes.
And originally, if I'm not mistaken, you started in San Francisco?
We did.
Or in the Bay Area?
Uh-huh.
And what made you... First, let's get the first question out of the way. I think that a lot of people will ask. I know I've asked you before, but I'll let you go in depth about it. So tell us about the name, Fans of Jiminy Century. Let's get the backstory on that.
Well, first of all, we sort of wanted a name that was like Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Right.
Something that was long and, kind of groovy and,
Sure.
and cool. And we've always named ourselves after boys. Okay. So one of our bands was called Simon Stinger. And Jimmy Century seemed like a cool name, and there was nobody named that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And then
your background on that.
Yeah,
Also,
and then we stuck a fans of before it because we didn't think anybody had that. But Jimmy Century is also our sort of code word for adrenaline, rushes, that kind of thing. So we are fans of that.
Yeah, we're also like SEO kings, I guess you'd say.
Yes, we're cut from the same cloth, I think,
Yep.
in that respect.
Yeah, and so we knew that, we could take over the name Fans of Jimmy, pretty much Fans of anything. I mean, if you Google Fans of anything, we come up.
You come up as it's a pop-up before you even spell the whole thing out, right?
Well, Fans of Jimmy Buffett always comes up too, which is
weird.
like, oh, man.
Well, when they shortened our name to, like, a lot of people call us FOJC.
Right.
And then we get the Friends of the Jewish Community. So we used to get emails for them all the time.
Really?
Because our email was Fans of JC.
Okay, got it.
So it was
And
Friends of
Fans of
Jewish
Jesus
Community.
Christ.
Fans of Jesus Christ. Mhm.
Which, hey, I mean,
Run
they're
with
not
it.
bad things.
That's all good.
So people could usually like hashtag things like FOJC then? Is
Yeah.
that usually how it would go?
That's
Right.
usually
Okay.
what they do.
Like the old Guns N' Roses, they call them GNR.
GNR.
They call us FOJC.
I like that. And so for those that aren't familiar, you're kind of a pop synth dance combination, or
Yeah, kind of a little of everything. I mean,
Okay.
we do a lot of songs for TV and film and that kind of stuff. Like we were like Ugly Betty, Samantha Who, some movies we were in was like Finding Nemo 3D and Hall Pass and
Cool.
Ugly Teacher, that kind of stuff. So it depends on,
As opposed to Bad Teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna do anything. I mean, this band is definitely more electronic, rock, dance, that kind of thing. But some of the songs are actually, whatever they want to pay us for, we'll do.
we'll do what you want. But it's good stuff. I remember, I think, Alicia, you had reached out to me originally,
Right.
being friends on Facebook and things like that. And,
When we lived in San Francisco,
Right.
I reached out to you.
and then we were friends, and I'm like, who is this girl with this orange hair?
Right, it was really bright.
It's
then.
really bright,
Yeah.
and but then I saw your branding is awesome, by the way, and just seeing all the progress you guys were doing. I think the first live show I saw was the Palms.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that was the first place that we played in Las Vegas.
Was okay.
They were great. Yeah, they were the first ones to just give us a chance, and all of a sudden we were on the billboard, and the video was on the billboard, and it was like, wow, this is cool.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a lot cooler than the Bay Area in terms of entertainment.
Yeah. So tell us, it's a different scene out here in Vegas, and I've talked about it before, especially for bands that are promoting themselves and producing themselves, and because you're competing basically against the slot machine in Las Vegas.
Right.
So that's even though that's super cool what you had, it still has to be a little bit more difficult getting into gigs and stuff than it might have been, let's say, in San Francisco, because you're the draw, and so they can sell more alcohol there.
Right.
And here you're the draw. You bring people, but they really hope that people are gambling as well.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
It is. I mean, luckily we're original band, so we play
Right.
places besides Vegas. But it is. But one thing that's nice about Vegas is they have a budget for entertainment. And so when like in San Francisco, we would sell out 500-600 seat venues or more, and and make a sixth of what we make playing here.
Right.
And it's free to get in to see
But
us.
it's definitely different
Right.
because we had to learn a whole slew of covers and we had never done that.
Right.
So especially playing them the way that they are,
Sure.
or the way that they're sung, like if you're doing Beyonce or something. And we don't usually do that, so we would have kind of a different spin on it. And I would say that a lot of the promoters were like, I want you to sing this exactly like this,
Well, your Purple Rain's good. I like
Yeah,
it.
we have,
Yeah.
Purple Rain is good.
So when you were in San Francisco, what was it? You were in other bands too, or started different things, and then you finally.
We were originally in a band called Simon Stinger that was on Elektra Records with
Okay.
Rick Ocasek, the lead singer of the Cars, was
Right.
our A&R guy, and that band did really well with them. And when Elektra folded into Atlantic, everyone kind of lost their deal, and we were out on tour with a bunch of big bands like No Doubt and that kind of thing, and broke, and so it fell apart quick. And
Right.
then when we got back together, we were actually getting back together and we were just going to do a duo, just me and Alicia, not even have a band.
Kind of divinal,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
that kind of thing.
Just because we like to tour a lot more than other people did, and we'd go through I don't remember all of our drummers' names in Simon Stinger. There was so many drummers, and then we started missing band members.
Right.
Like I couldn't play without a drummer,
Right.
so we started putting back in drummers and dancers, and now it's just become big.
Well, it's an interesting thing about what you have going on because a lot of times it's like a bassist that might keep coming in and out of a band, but it's always the two of you, and then it's
Yeah.
been different drummers that I've at least seen, and now
Right.
you have Steve with you, so
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
does a multitude of things,
Yeah.
some mixing and drums. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
before when we first moved here, actually we had a drummer that was there was a third member in the band, but he couldn't move
right,
from the Bay Area because of some family issues. So we started just using hired drummers, but then we found Steve, and now Steve's kind of fit the bill, and pretty much in that slot.
that's good. That's good, and you have to have a good rapport with the people that you play, and good creative outlets and bounce ideas off of one another. So that's good.
Exactly.
So you are in the Bay Area, you're plugging away, and then you just, from my understanding of the story, was you have a song, by Mr. Las Vegas,
Right.
and after putting that song together, you felt it was just the natural progression to come out here.
Yeah, it was. It felt like a sign.
Sure.
So, just one day all of a sudden the lyrics came that it was Mr. Las Vegas, and the next day I think we both woke up and we're like, do you want to move to Las Vegas? I mean, it was so random
Right.
that we just felt like we kept being pushed out of, we lived in Marin at the time,
Okay.
in Dillon Beach. So it was a amazing place to live. We lived in this octagon house, and it was on the ocean, but it was so remote. It's the kind of place you live when you're, about 80, and we're not
Like, we'll be
quite
back
there
when we're-
yet.
Yeah, when we're much older.
Yeah, so it was just too quiet and remote. So we were trying to figure out what's the most extreme place we could
That would
go,
be it.
and that would be this.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, being from that area, we were used to going to bed at midnight. San Francisco goes
not
to
here.
sleep. No, and everybody else is going out. So it took us a couple years to actually be able to keep up with everybody.
Yeah.
Stay up till 4.
When we recorded Mr. Las Vegas, we actually came to the Palms to mix it at their studio at the Palms,
Right.
and then we got to spend a week in Vegas. And then we pretty much, after we spent a week, we just fell in love with it. So we went home and packed everything up and just moved back here.
Especially those mid-mod, Rat
Yeah.
Pack neighborhoods.
Sure,
those
sure.
historic neighborhoods, which
That-
is where we live now.
Yeah, it is where, and that's. I used to have a house over in that area too, and they're
Yeah.
just, kind of like you said, mid-mod ranch style, and it's
Right.
just an
Right.
older neighborhood that's established, and you actually have a yard, and
Yeah.
as opposed to some of the newer neighborhoods, it's you're right on top of everybody, and
Right.
Yeah, and it has so much history. I mean, a few blocks down from our house, that's where, or the house that we were living in, they shot Casino, the movie, and all the old, Rat Pack guys used to live there, and the golf course right behind our house, they still have the piano in there where all the Rat Pack guys used to go and sit and play, and
Yep.
and do their thing. And yeah, so we were sold. And also we were moving from San Francisco. All of our friends there were, oh my God, I can't believe you're moving to Vegas. There's no culture.
Right.
There's no the food. And I'm like, yeah, and after you're here, it's like, man, you're in Vegas. You have the
best of
art.
everything.
Yeah.
You have the best food from all over the world. You have the hands down the best musicians
Yep.
from anywhere.
Yep.
Where it made me actually had to learn how to play the guitar.
You're like, I've got to step up my game.
Yeah, it was just
Oh,
you
look at
know.
all the cats. I need to step it up.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much, it's like $89 flight to anywhere you want to go from Vegas.
true.
It's great, And our phone book has gotten so much better since now like all these old rock stars that used to look up to, and our kids now they all live here, and now
Right.
they're all friends because it's such a small community.
It is.
I even got Wayne Newton's home phone number on my phone.
There you go. Now you're going to get all sorts of people contacting you. Want them to
Phone
croon.
calls.
But yeah, I mean, you wouldn't suspect it because you have the Vince Neils, and they're just all living here, and they
Yeah.
all interact with one another.
Yeah,
and it's
it's
that
fun.
music scene's really really tight from what I've been able to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, they're all really nice guys. They're just regular people that hang out. I mean, Jakey Lee, the guitar player from Ozzy, who, when I was 10, I was like my idol.
Mhm.
And he now he's like one of our best friends. We go out shopping with him all the time. And him and his lovely girlfriend Amy.
Right.
And we go. Well, because he likes to shop. Him and Alicia like to shop. I'm just walking around because I'm like, dude, I'm shopping with Jakey Lee.
You're just
And he's buying me chocolate stuff. It's
like a kid. It's cool. And that's what Vegas really has to offer, is that it's just this. It's a town of 2 million people where almost everybody knows one another.
Right.
And before, like you were saying, you don't necessarily know that prior to getting here. You're just
No.
like, everyone thinks you like live in the hotel, and
Yeah.
you buy your groceries at the little gift stores inside the hotel, and you're like,
Right.
when you flew in, didn't you see all those houses that
Yeah.
were around?
Yeah,
Our
there are
houses.
actually people who live here, the locals,
Mhm.
that's what they don't understand. They think it's just the strip, and it's so much different than that.
And the
That's-
cost of
it's
living
wild.
is-
It's just
It's a
the
third,
yeah.
of
Yeah.
San Francisco,
Yeah.
in the Bay Area.
We just feel like it's a community that lifts each other. Everybody is, helps each other out. And we didn't come from that. We came
Right.
from more of a competitive
Yeah.
based, there's only so much room. And it's like, no, that's not true. There's
Right.
room for everyone to do what they want.
That's
Yeah.
my mindset. I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
it's better to be that way because if you just have a good group of friends and you're promoting them.
Right.
I've got photographers that are friends that I send work to, and I'm always promoting them on my websites and whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna try and keep it away from them because I think it doesn't do me any good.
No.
I mean, it puts me in a different frame of mind. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and same thing with musicians around here. I mean, there's so many different types. Our buddy Elvis, who's in the Blue Man Group and Chris Angel's band.
Mhm.
We're always getting him his side projects, little gigs and that kind of, because they're not even close to the same type of music we are.
Right.
And the same with us. When he found out we're looking for a house, him and his wife Louise, they're on it, trying to find us a house to move into.
Nice.
All of our neighbors are like that in
All of them,
Paradise
yeah.
Palms. I'm getting texts every day. Okay, what's the housing development look like? And Clay and Denise Hexamer, they're considered the mayors of Paradise Palms.
on the
The
cover
mayor
of
and
Seven
first
magazine
lady.
last
He
week.
was just
Oh,
on
yeah.
the cover of Seven, and they're just right in there. Trying to find you something and keeping you in the neighborhood.
yeah, they don't want you to go.
No,
They're like,
it's,
we need people like you here.
It's
That's
very
what
loyal. Yeah.
makes
Right.
the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Very cool.
No,
It's a bit strange, isn't it?
It's a little
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Yes,
It is. And in a town, and I can personally say this. I mean, I live literally like 2 minutes from you guys.
Right.
And but I don't really know my neighbors, even though my little community is really cool and it's small and tight.
Right.
You don't do that here in Vegas. It's not like you go, hey, let's all get together and have like a block party or
Yeah.
something. It just doesn't happen. But
Yeah.
in your neighborhood, again, 2 minutes away, you have that maybe more of a community feel, I would imagine.
Well,
Right,
they-
that they created. They created
Yeah.
this, cocktail social every month.
Wow,
I think that's been going on for 2 or 3 years
Yeah,
now.
where they
About 3 years.
change houses each
And
month.
It changed. I mean, Midtown, now everybody's referring to it as Midtown, and it's like growing and
It's actually made the
and-
property values go up 12%
Yeah,
since they've
no,
been doing
it's-
that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which
That is good.
Insane.
Yeah.
Because you basically, if for those that aren't aware, a lot of these houses that are in that area are cinder block homes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how they were built, and
Right.
and they have a certain style to them, and so
I
whatever.
love that.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's completely different than the typical tiled roof, pink house
Right.
that they all look pretty much the same.
That's the one I meant on, was the tiled roof pink house.
Yeah,
not
no, the cinder block are the ones in front of our house.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and it's a certain decor, and it's strong, and you wouldn't imagine it would be well insulated that way, but it is.
Yeah.
But that's a lot, because where I lived before, where I owned my house, was Francisco Park, which is
That's
right across.
historic too, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
where La Cañada is,
Right.
if you go in there, back in that area was where my house was. So it was really cool too. The windy streets, all the street names were like California type names. So it's just that area I've always liked, even though I've kind of moved around.
Right.
I've
And you love
obviously-
California too.
I love California.
Southern California.
I love
Yeah.
California, but again, it's so pricey. It's just
Yeah.
You can't
It's-
live there, yeah.
it's hard, and so I still have that vision of and really what my vision is just to be on the beach every day, being able to watch the sunset and drinking coffee.
Right.
I mean, wherever that might be,
With 5
That's
strippers.
right.
why not?
Yeah.
He's
know,
the
that's-
Sultan of
that's my
Sunset.
vision.
Sultan of Sunsets.
I dubbed him that
That's
a long
Victor's
time
son.
ago. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you did. You liked all my
All
my
your sunset
pictures.
photos are amazing.
I have gone away from it for a bit, so I should get back into that. So you write the song, which just came out of you guys. I'm assuming, Mr. Las Vegas.
Yeah.
You're in the Bay Area, but then you're writing a song about Las Vegas.
And I think it was a James Bond thing too,
Okay.
because we're really into that. So the song has that feel and that vibe. So Las Vegas was definitely,
Yeah, now it's kind of morphed into where we're going to actually make a movie about it. That's how we got in
That's-
touch
that's
with
why we
Wayne
came
Newton
to.
and that kind of stuff, and that was a
Yeah.
big thing. But then we actually signed to this Universal label, and they released our first single called Baba Voom,
Which is
to
a
the
great
moon.
song.
Yeah, and so the movie's kind of got put on the back burner because right now I'm in the middle of promoting that, and like Liz Carmouche, The Ultimate Fighter, on the 19th of
yeah.
April, yeah.
of
In
April,
Orlando.
UFC fight.
Uh-huh.
She's actually going to be changing her theme song to Baba Voom.
Her
to the
walkout
Moon.
song.
That's
is
awesome.
In
Baba
front
Boom.
of 50 million people.
Well,
on
it's
Fox
it's
Live.
Eurotrash Collective's remix of it, which
Okay.
is
Yeah.
really cool. Which is
Yeah.
Steve,
Steve
and Brown.
Stein?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the song's actually doing really well in like China right now, which is we haven't even started the radio promo here. We're gonna actually start doing that after Liz's walk.
Okay.
And win. She
Right.
will win that fight.
She will.
Oh, yeah.
She will win.
She'll win.
Yeah.
And if you want to see that flyer or you want to see the video for Baba Voom, you just go to the JeremyWomackShow.com. There's a nice profile for fans of Jimmy Century on there, pictures and all that. And the song, I really dig it. I have it in my playlist. I could show you right now if you didn't believe me. But I also like international. I'm a fan of that one
That's
too.
right.
Yeah.
And the international
Right.
video is pretty
That's
cool
right.
too.
Yeah,
Cool.
that was fun making it. But yeah, no, Baba Boom is it's a good song. And the remixes, there's gonna be a lot more remixes here in the next 2 weeks or so from some really good DJs from around Las Vegas and stuff like that.
Right.
And
Yeah,
we
DJ Stellar, and they're going to do a whole big thing on it leading up to the fight. And,
Cool.
So it'll be very cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be very cool. It's very exciting. So yeah, and then also Liz, if you have some UFC fans out there, they Liz Carmouche is actually in the video with like 4 other UFC fighters.
Oh yeah, because I remember it was this, and I apologize I wasn't able to attend, but you had a lot
You were
of.
supposed to be in that.
I know. I apologize, but you had a lot of people from Vegas and your friends and stuff in that.
Yeah.
Well-known people, and
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
there was a Jabberwocky in there, and the guy spinning around his head. There was people from the Las Vegas the show, and a bunch of other shows that you can go through and pick them out.
Right.
a lot of the Vegas lookalikes,
Sure.
and like Snoop Dogg and Tupac.
Robert Nash.
Robert Nash,
the
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
him, and I love Snoop, and Tupac.
Robert Rat Nash plays Robert De Niro, not really in the
And
video.
Raymond as Snoop, and Josh as Tupac.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting about the sound that you have is to really set yourself apart. Alicia does this really interesting thing with her with her voice. I don't know how it happens. It's just this range that's all over the place, but it just like you'll be listening and here it comes, and it's really cool. I mean, is that, did you consciously say this is going to set us apart? Because I don't know, there might be somebody out there, but I don't think anyone could match.
You're
match
talking
it.
about the right.
Yeah.
You know what that is? I think it's that actually stemmed from a weakness, that I had of being able to maybe hit a certain note, and so what I did was I just started to maybe not capitalize, but you know what I mean, use that as a stylistic thing.
Yeah, and
because
it doesn't seem like it's even a
No.
transitional thing. I mean, it could
Right.
just be the beginning of a verse, and it's like a little
leap.
yodelish, or I don't know. But I don't want it to sound yodel because it's really not. But it just the range goes. I can't even picture it, but it's
it
really
just kind
cool.
of goes into a falsetto kind
Yeah.
of weirdness. Yeah,
I like it
that's
though.
Good.
I
I'm
mean,
glad you like that.
It's kind of that thing that if you heard
The
that, you're like,
distinction.
I know that band.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's the best thing that you could say, because for me, that's I just want it to be different. So
You did
Yeah.
good, and it goes on a lot of your songs, or maybe am I stretching by saying on almost every one of them?
Yeah, probably every single one.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of
Yeah,
her
that's
style.
trademark
Kinda like,
maybe, or but it did start out as that, as kind
Yeah.
of, how do you get up, or
Like, I can't get to
just
this
became
note,
that.
and then you're just
right.
like, you just did it, and you're like,
Yeah.
well, that sounded cool.
Because I'm definitely well, I used to be more of an alto. I'm probably more of a mezzo soprano now,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely getting up that high, and then it became something that just sounded right, and it was,
Yeah,
and it
kinda
fit our sound.
Right.
That sort of because we were very modern rock. In Simon Stinger, you hear it actually a lot more if
Okay.
you hear that music.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that music's still out
And
there.
people would come and go and tell me, that's not commercial enough. People aren't going to get that. It's going to sound weird to their ears, and that's when you kind of go, oh, okay, so you don't get this.
The
So
only thing I would
we don't move
say
on.
on that is that I guess maybe when you first hear it, you're like, what just happened there? But as you continue to listen to it, then you get accustomed to hearing it. And if you don't hear it, you're like, well, where did it go?
Right.
That ought to
Right.
be there.
Yeah, it's like that irritating little kid that you miss them then when they stop
When
bugging
they
you.
stop, yeah.
Yeah, so it's,
Yeah, no,
that's
it's like
what I am.
It's like when I heard, some of the singers, even like Axl Rose, like you first heard that.
Yeah, his voice was weird when you first heard
I
it.
just couldn't
Yeah.
take it. But
Right.
then after a while, that's like now it's the main voice you hear, or at least it was.
It was, yeah.
And then now a lot of the singers sound the same. So
Right.
I'm picking out singers that didn't sound the same.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
now you're going to get people that copy you.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I copy her all the time. I'm always trying to put her clothes on, but she's too small. Just weird. San Francisco, remember?
Yeah, I remember that's when you come here, you're like, oh, I can't wear those clothes anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
And speaking of kind of like an image that you guys have, it's just, what you're seeing now. I mean, you can't see Victor, but it's a bit of the same image in what you're doing now. But it's like these characters come out of like both of you on stage, and it's,
Yeah, I play Chris Angel on stage.
yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
I see that. And I saw the picture of the two of you together, and it's like, well, which one's
funny?
which?
I
You know that
know.
picture? We were actually
And
at
Chris
this.
was like, I'm really tall. Everybody thinks I'm
I
that
know.
short. He was like,
But he just laid down like $36,000 to this charity.
Uh-huh.
And right where that little VIP rope was, that picture was taken at, the lady comes around off the stage and congratulates me for doing it. And he's
yeah,
like,
that was great.
"You're just kidding." And then I look at him, I said, "No, I get it all the time." He's like, "Well, dude, I am so sorry about ruining your reputation here in Vegas." And I'm like, wow, this guy is totally down to earth. He's
Yeah.
a really nice guy.
He's very nice. He's very cool.
And have
Great
you got
sense
to
of humor.
interact after that little incident? or?
We just saw him the other night
Okay.
at another circ.
Yeah, I think he ignored you that night.
He did, yeah. He was hanging out with Robin Leach. So,
Okay.
no, I'm just joking. No,
Sometimes
it was-
that happens, yeah.
Yeah,
There was
it
a-
happens.
Yeah, no, I just didn't really. We were kind of really
Were you
laid
drunk?
back, low.
Oh, okay.
No,
Alright.
we have to move out of our house. We were kind of bummed.
No, actually, you're putting me in a good mood because even
Good.
before I got here, I was pretty down.
Well, that
I had an
can,
anxiety attack. Oh,
it can throw you through a loop, obviously, So, but I have a good feeling that you will stay in that little neighborhood.
Good.
I,
Well, you are a wizard, so
I do what I
believe-
can.
I believe you.
I'm a wizard and a sultan, just so you know.
Sultan.
Nice.
If you didn't know,
You
George.
should get paid a lot.
I should get
for
paid a
that.
lot of money.
You're the Wizard of Sultantry.
Yes.
Oh,
There you go. Well, I
that's
should have
kinky.
known a trick.
That sounds
It
good.
could be.
That makes sense after midnight, Jeremy.
It's what is it? 1:30 right now.
That's
A lot
right.
of people aren't getting that.
No,
But-
no, they're not getting it
No,
yet.
they
They
don't
will.
understand. They will because that's the type of town this is. I mean, like you
That's
were saying,
right.
you were mentioning it before, but you go anywhere else, they have these last calls at 2, and if you live here enough, and then you go maybe visit somewhere else there. I don't even drink, but then I ask, well, why are these buckets all going around the nightclub? And they're, it's 2, and they're picking up all the glasses. I'm like, such a weird concept.
It's so weird.
I don't. Today I was inside the Hard Rock, and my girlfriend was saying, she watched somebody walk by and they were drinking, and it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. She goes, "That person's drinking at 9 in the morning." I said, "Yeah, they do it at 5. They do it at 11.
Yeah.
and that's this.
They
this
probably
town.
haven't stopped
Yeah,
since the
there's
night
no-
before.
No.
Is what the
Yeah.
problem is.
There's
they-
no last call.
No.
in Las
No,
Vegas.
because you could party all day. You could go to
Yeah.
a pool party, hang out for dinner, go to a show, then go to a nightclub, go to after hours, and not sleep if you don't want, and just
Right.
go do it all over again.
Yeah,
Right.
no, it's
And
great.
have you been to the link? Have you been hanging out
I
there?
haven't
at
gone
all?
there yet.
They have that pink zebra place that has all the flavored ices with alcohol, and then they have the big
They have,
boots
you know,
that
the
you eat
big
'em,
boots and
drink 'em
guitars
out
that
of.
you walk around
You know
drinking.
those.
Well, now they have a whole shop devoted to that, but you can actually go in.
There's
and
children
they
in
have
there
different-
drinking out of the.
Yeah, but those aren't. They have an alcohol side and they have a non-alcohol side, but they're like slushy machines built into the wall. And there's
Yeah,
50,
it's
like
really
50 different
cool.
ones that you can just choose from, so you can go there and just taste whichever one you want.
So it's like Yogurtland, but
But yeah, but
not.
but not
Booze
it's
land.
Booze
Yeah.
land.
Yeah.
and it's and all the girls are really very hot dressed.
Sure.
You know,
They have zebra. They're dressed like
yeah,
little
they're dressed like
zebras.
little zebras.
Really?
Yeah,
Black
no,
and white
It's
striped.
worth checking
It's
out.
one of my favorite stores.
Is it?
Besides, yeah, Ross.
That's well.
Yeah,
Why not?
yeah.
It's close by.
We
so-
have that, Ross.
Now, have you gone to like Sprinkles and Brooklyn Bowl and all that in there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sprinkles had a really long line, so we didn't hit that. But Brooklyn Bowl is cool. We were
I've
there
heard-
the first night for the soft opening when Soul Live played. They're
Right.
great, and they have 2 stories of bowling and 8 bars.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everybody
And
was on great behavior that night though, because it was their first night.
And
you
everything
know.
was free,
So,
so-
if your drink was halfway done, they were like running to get
make
you
sure you had
another
more.
drink. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was cool.
We haven't been back since because when we were our first experience was great. All the food and booze was free. The band was free. Bowling was free. It was
Sure.
like free.
Yeah, so I don't want to go back and pay for something.
Yeah, I don't want to
And
go back and pay for
that's
that.
what happens in Vegas because
Right,
you're
they
so
spoil you.
used to.
That's right.
You're like, what? You're like, someone says, "Oh, come out and hang out with us at a nightclub." You're like, "Do you have a table?"
You have a table?
Right.
You're like, "No." Well, then
I
I'll
wanna
just stay
stand
home.
Then
up.
I'll wait until
I
you
don't
get
wanna
one.
stand
Get a
up.
table. Yeah. They're like, "No,
I'm
no,
far
we're gonna
too
stand in
lazy.
line." You're like, "There's a line."
There's a
Right.
line.
Right.
What?
Right.
And you get kind of, used to the free, especially if you manage to, create a name for yourself or whatever. You're always invited to things. I remember maybe the last time we saw each other was the opening of the Green Valley Ranch movie
That's
theater.
right.
Right.
That's
So
right.
You get invited to all these openings, and you're like,
Yeah.
"But why would I not go? I'll just wait till you invite me to more free stuff."
Right.
Yeah,
More
'cause-
openings with free stuff and showgirls to
Yes.
take my picture with me.
Why not?
And after
Yeah,
you live
yeah.
here, it's like you go to all the shows, and not just us. I mean, anyone.
Sure.
It's not, you don't have to be in a
Well, you don't have to be doing
a
anything.
band,
you
but
just
you
live
can just
here.
get most of the shows for free.
Yeah.
It's like
You'll have friends that are in them or
Right.
whatever. You get invited.
yeah,
Right. Right.
It's a really cool thing. I mean, you get to see all the shows and you didn't pay for them.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Exactly.
they're expensive, but but the good thing about that concept is that then we'll talk about the cool shows. Oh, you've got to see this because of this, and
Yeah.
when we always have people ask us when they're coming to visit, what should we do?
Yep. And that's the point.
Yeah.
That's why
Or even,
that's the
like
way
when
to
we
do
first
it.
got here, we signed up on that show tickets for locals.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we wanted to go to the shows, but because we had everyone and their mother visiting us all the time, and
Sure.
we were like, "This is a great way to pawn them off. We'll get tickets and just go,
Yeah,
go."
go
And
to
we
the
get
show.
them 4 shows a day.
Yeah.
It's like,
Go see all these shows, and that's. There's so much entertainment here. There's so many different places to eat and
Yeah.
shop, and
Yeah.
it just is all in one place. So I've lived here 4 different times. So I've gone away, come back, gone away.
What makes you go away?
Makes me go away is there is a bit of a community, but sometimes there's not. There's these this fighting sometimes. And
Uh-huh.
it's hard to really, find a good core group of people that you just are always hanging with.
Right.
So and
That seems to sort of change
it
sometimes.
does.
Yeah.
And,
no.
and
Yeah.
people are always pulled in different directions.
Right.
You might set, let's hang out on this day, and then the day arrives and like, oh, something, came up and can't do it. And that's what I find. So then I go away, but then when I'm somewhere else, I can't get a prime rib at 4 a.m. So I have to come back to Vegas. And,
Right.
that's the problem.
But you're right. This is probably the flakiest town I've ever
Yes.
lived in.
And I
in
hate to
terms
say
of-
that, but
yeah.
it tends to be true. And
Yeah.
I
it's
think it's
frustrating.
because it's so easy to get places
Sure.
that it's easy for someone an hour before to say, "Oh, I can't make it. Can we do it in 3 hours or tomorrow morning?" Because everybody figures, "Oh, it's so easy
Sure.
to get around that I'm just going to switch that on you last minute." And so it does feel that way.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to say no because you've set aside that time for that person.
Right.
And you're like, no, I can't hang out
No,
with you
I
another
can't.
day.
I'm going
You
to
snooze, you lose.
India, and then I'm
Yeah.
going to be there for 2 months.
Yeah,
so.
that's good. I'm going to use that one.
Please.
Okay.
You can. You're a sultan. You can use
I,
stuff
can,
like that.
I deserve to be in
They
India.
expect you
I am a
to
sultan.
go there. You have to do what's expected sometimes, or people get disappointed.
That's true, they do. And, we'll go back to, part of your look. And because, like, if you didn't do that, then, again, people might be, they're expecting you to put on this show. And really, when you watch a Fancy Jimmy Century show, it's a show, It's not just, Alicia's not just sitting there at a mic singing. She's dancing. There's backup dancers. Victor's getting into it. I mean, if you want to see anyone really perform with a guitar, watch him because he's not just sitting there doing it. He's going down, and it's just fun. And then you've got girls wearing helmets for who knows why, but they are, and they're really cool helmets.
Yeah.
And Alicia has a cigarette that never goes out, and it's just.
Isn't that amazing how
owned
that cigarette never goes out?
Or she might be wearing this
I
cat
almost
mask.
bought that today. What?
You should have
I
probably.
knew there was something wrong. Yeah.
But there's a white cat
Yeah,
mask,
the
or
cat,
and
yeah.
it's this cool eclectic vibe that and sometimes you know what you're going to expect, but then you will throw like a little Easter egg in there and just like, hey, what about this? And you're like, wow, I didn't expect that to happen.
I love Easter.
I love that. That's so cool.
But that's, I think that the whole thing is what makes you guys artists, is that not only are you're coming out with good music, but the way you present it. I think in my opinion, it's very important, the showmanship.
Well, yeah, I mean, the show's always been important to us. I mean, I when I was, younger, I went to, I'm actually a bass player and then with this band, we don't have a bass player, so I started playing. I've always played guitar, but anyhow, I've had a bass strapped to me since I was 14 and started touring at that time. And from the age of like 14 to 18, I was like this great, insane bass player. And then I realized, what? The only person I'm impressing is myself. And it's all about, you can write a great song with 3 notes,
Right.
and that's where for one, if you got to make a living at it, you got to write a good song. And then it's about, performing. I mean, people want to see the mass people, and want to see a good show.
Sure.
They don't really care if the bass player can play 60,000 notes, in 2 seconds.
Sure.
And which at the time I could.
Right.
And after we started realizing that, we're like, what, we need to perform. We love shows. I mean, we love, not really so much. I've seen so many bands now in my life that I don't really. That's not my favorite type of shows, but I love shows like Phantom and that kind of thing,
Sure.
where it's actually, and so that's what we want to make is a spectacle. So when someone goes there, they feel like they actually got to walk away, seeing a show, and more than just a band.
You probably really stood out in San Francisco.
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
And when you come here, it almost seems like natural that you would put on this kind of a show.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Not that you're not standing out, but Vegas is funny like that. When you raise that bar, they expect something all the time,
Yeah.
And so, we have Cirque here, and we've
Right.
got, Phantom was here for a long time, and you've got Celine's and the Elton, all these different things that if it's lower than that bar, you're just like, oh.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
I know. Then you lose interest.
And it seems so weird because that
Yeah.
same act could be somewhere else and get these standing ovations, but because I guess, I don't know, it's jadedness or something, but
Yeah.
you've done a good job keeping up with that, in my opinion, so.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
San
it's definitely
Francisco
about energy for us because at a show, you want that energy exchange, or it's not complete, because I mean it's about the audience. I want them to walk away inspired so that they're doing their passions the next day. I don't even feel it. I don't even feel like it's nothing about us. It's you want to have that energy exchange where they feel lifted when they
Sure.
leave, and not drained, from having to sit through something that didn't inspire them to do what they want
Right.
to do.
Or didn't
in
make
their
them feel
life.
like they were a part of it. That's
Sure.
that's how kind of DJs have kind of won over the music scene, because it's all about the
It's
audience.
all about the
Right.
audience,
You know,
and it
so
should
that's
be.
kind of what we wanted to do too. We wanted to make
Yeah.
our show, make it so it's also all about the audience. The
And
audience.
it's quite interactive. And you were mentioning like DJs,
Yeah.
and someone might outside looking in go, well, they just stand there and spin records. They might, but then they interact with the crowd.
That's right.
They're lifting their hands up. They're jumping around. They're dancing with everybody. So the audience feels one with that person. I mean, if they didn't, they wouldn't be able to pack 50,000 people into
Exactly.
a stadium to watch one guy up there spin some records.
That's right.
Yeah, another
They're
thing is-
changing the frequency. They're changing the vibration and lifting it. And so it's a universal thing. It's all
Right.
of you together. It's not, oh, what are they doing? Because like you said, it's has nothing to do with what they're doing.
Right.
They're creating this entire vibe.
And they're making anywhere between $20,000 to $250,000 a night or more, and it's because they're making the audience feel like they're a part of the
sexy and
show, that they
alive.
are the show, and so
Yeah.
From the vantage point of somebody that's been out here since 2000 consistently and watching how everything's changed in the nightlife scene, this is my assessment of it. So the casinos want a certain demographic, and they don't want people fighting, and it brings a certain element. So here you have an audience or a fan base of people that will buy alcohol, buy drinks, buy tables, drop a bunch of money on it, and won't fight, love everybody. Everybody gets along. I don't think I can think of one fight that I've ever seen at an EDM show.
Right.
yeah, but it's because everyone
Right.
usually at a DJ or EDM show is on ecstasy, so
They all
there's no
love one
fighting
another,
there.
no.
No, I'm just joking.
And I've gone to Electric Daisy Carnival, and everybody loves everybody there.
And they're all touching each other,
Yeah.
just weird. No,
See, George, that's what you're missing out on.
no, but
I
a lot of
don't think I'm
that,
missing.
a lot of that is because
You
the
see people
DJs
walking around in love with towels,
Yeah,
George,
like,
just
it's so
everything.
soft.
Oh, can I bring my
Yeah.
duck and my soap then?
Yes,
You
of course.
can.
Of course.
I
Yeah.
love ducks.
Just watch out, someone will try to take your duck.
You might want to stay and listen to Tiffany's show later. But this is something I've always been curious about, because I haven't been in a situation where I've been only once, and it was nerve-wracking. I was MC for this award show. But how is it when you are performing up there? And we're talking about sometimes how Vegas is a little bit jaded. When you're talking about interacting with the audience, but you've got to have some that just are like, okay, entertain me, and
Right.
do you have to just block them out? Is it just
I
you
think-
just stay in your vibe? I mean,
I think those are, it's
That's the one-
hard to block them out. I think those
Yeah.
are the ones you go after.
to try and to get them to start
and-
loosening up.
And
Okay.
you certainly don't have to, because it's all about the people who are giving you that energy back.
Yeah.
But the ones who aren't, I think it's always fun to break that ice and endear yourself and just kind of
Yeah, but
bring them into it somehow if you can.
But sometimes
you
you're
can't.
not in a very good mood, and when you're, and that happens, and it makes you, and that much. So you just kind of breeze through the show and get it over with. You go
Right.
home and then punch yourself the next few days, going, God, I wish I'd done that different.
Right.
But
Well, it's that line from Nirvana, like, here we are now, entertain us.
Yeah.
And that's kind of that vibe. It's
Right.
like, all right, and we're here, if you're a comedian, make us laugh, or, it's,
Yeah.
you get those people, and I see them when I'm enjoying the show. I'm like,
Yeah.
that person has front row seats
Right.
for this gig, and they're just,
Right.
They just, they have
being
that
negative
scowl on their
Nancy.
face.
Yeah, it's
Right.
weird. So
Yeah.
I always, since I have you here, I was just kind of curious of how does that sit, and what do you do to try and change that mindset?
I think it can mind F you.
Right.
It does. Yeah.
I had to think about that for a second.
You can say it.
Oh, I think it can mind fuck you,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
are, if I can say it, that,
Yeah.
yay.
Please.
Fantastic.
Yeah, no, it does, because you're sitting there, and the more you think about them, the more they're just, it's that piercing
View, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I think if you can laugh it off, then, and of course it's a challenge to make them laugh or smile, and then
Yeah.
it becomes kind of a game and it's fun.
Especially because in Vegas, like you said, they have a front row seat,
Yeah.
which is insane because most of the places we've ever played, there is no seats.
Right.
And here they have seats, so it's just that was a mind fuck
You like
for a
the
while.
Yeah.
People
sitting?
are sitting
You
in
just
front
wanted
of
to
you.
say
It's like
mind
we're a
fuck because
dance
I said
band. It's like they're just sitting there staring at you, and it's like, well, am I naked? It's like.
Did something fall out?
Yeah, so that's when it's bizarre, and it's kind of hard to read people when they're sitting there,
Right.
drinking, and but the casinos want them to sit there, so
Right.
so it just kind of depends on the thing. So yeah, it gets a little uncomfortable at that point in time, and there's not really, the best you can do is try to pull them out of their slumber. If you can't, just got to move on. And
Well, and you do interact with the crowd. I've seen that. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just we're a spectacle. Look at us. It's like we want you to
Yeah.
be involved, and if you want to get up and dance, you dance, or you take on that true performer mentality of, we're going to play music for you, but we want you to have a good time. So, and this is how we're
Right.
going to go about doing it. And
Yeah.
it's commendable for for someone like myself that's seen a ton of stuff and
Right.
sometimes get disappointed. You're like, oh, okay, well,
what were you
That was an
disappointed when
hour.
you saw us?
no,
Right.
not when you guys.
Okay, good.
Not at all. That's why I continue to push, because I want people to know who you are and what you guys bring to the table, which is completely different than what I'd seen before.
Yeah, good. What's fun is when everybody starts to feel their own mojo, and that kind of kicks in, and then everybody's on that high. You know how it gets when you feel like you can attract anything,
Right.
And you have that thing. That's
Yeah.
what the video is about, and so that's why it's in my head. But that's drinking that elixir, and all of a sudden your whole world is you're just attracting everything right to your life, and that's what you sort of want in that room that you're playing. You want that to happen for everyone, so that they.
Yeah, they all lift up and enjoy the
It's the
whole,
vortex.
Sure.
Yeah. And when it's not in that, it's hard. But when it is, in
Yeah,
that,
when it clicks and everybody feels it.
Yeah.
Like we did a gig just recently. It wasn't. We have another thing called the Mid Mods, and we do. That's more of a chilled down tempo thing.
we do like electro lounge.
Yeah,
versions.
and we
Cool.
just did a gig recently, and you could feel the whole energy of the room changed all at once. Everybody was on the same page, and it was just a click.
Yeah.
And it's hard to recreate it. You can't go into a gig going, "Oh, I'm going to recreate that." It was just something that happened, and everybody could feel it. And there's nothing like that. It's not about the band feeling good. It was
Yeah.
about everybody in that room just changed.
Well, I think
You know.
what helps it out is literally they could have 15 people on the stage.
Yeah.
And as the viewer, I feel like every single person on that stage is important.
Oh,
yeah.
You're all on the same level, and from my perspective, I feel that, but not only just because I'm seeing it that way. I'm seeing that nobody up there feels like they're disconnected. They're like, okay, I'm here because I'm going to do a couple of dance moves, or I'm here because I'm going to do some background vocals or something.
Right.
When you watch them,
Yeah.
because you can look back on it as I always say, as a photographer, or I went to school for massage therapy, I can't really appreciate what I do as somebody else appreciates it, because, with your songs, you laid the tracks and created the whole thing. It took months to do, let's say,
Yeah.
and to do that. So it's harder maybe for you to appreciate it. But from my vantage point, I see that, I'm like, okay, these background singers, these dancers, they all feel, I can tell that they all feel part of the experience.
Right.
And so if you
Right.
have that, and you've got 15 people on stage that all feel like they're part of this collective, it's going to be infectious to everybody
Right.
else too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
And our dancers, Brittany, Tennille, Amy, and Allie, and our backup singers, Francesca and Erica, and they're all.
There
And then
are
we've
two
got
Ericas.
Madeline.
Erica, and
Two
she wasn't
Ericas.
stuttering.
Yeah, I know. I just couldn't
and
remember them
Erica.
now.
yeah, they all do.
We call them Ebony and Ivory Erica.
Okay.
And we have to beat them a lot to make sure that they don't act like that. 'Cause sometimes they act up,
Okay.
And then Madeline, Madeline.
Sure, hello, Madeline.
She does our lights, and she's fabulous. And
Well, and
everybody feels. If we're all feeling that way together, you're right.
Right.
Everybody's gonna feel that way.
It also feels, and you're more than welcome to correct me if I'm wrong, but it also feels like whatever the band has suggested that the dance move is going to be, or like the fact that you're going to wear a motorcycle helmet on stage, it almost seems like there was no pushback. It's like, oh, okay, cool, let's do this, you know. And
Right.
I could be completely wrong, but if I'm wrong, it doesn't come off that way that, you know, that they ever had a problem with doing whatever the artistic vision was for that set.
They
Right,
they are
exactly.
so professional. They are the epitome of professional Las Vegas entertainers, because they do just go for whatever. They're like, look, you know, this is your guys' vision, and we're a part of it, but we're going to try this. Whatever you guys want to try, let's try.
Yeah.
And I think that's so professional, you know.
Right. No, it is.
Because they really.
Well, they all work, you know, a lot of the Vegas shows, like, you know, Las Vegas, the show, and what was some of the other shows they've worked in. And so it's just been, you know, it's definitely different. I mean, our dancers were great in the Bay Area, but the ones here, they're just so pro, you know. It's just
Right.
that there's never any drama, you know. It's
No,
like
there's never.
dance practice, you know.
Well, we drink a lot of wine,
Explain to you
so-
how dance practice. But how dance practice works is the dancers
is
come in,
awesome.
and Alicia has wine there and cheese and that kind of stuff, and they all get pretty much hammered.
Sure.
And then and then there's there's 5 girls in the room, so they're gonna discuss a lot of things about, you know, their day, gossip.
Sure.
And then
Victor's right there.
Yeah, I'm
trying to hear everything.
and then they go up and they start dancing for a while, and then they come back and they drink some more wine, and then they come back and dance for a while. And it's not like these guys are all alcoholics. Just it's usually like once a week they get together to dance, and instead of dancing, they're gonna have a party.
They have a good time.
Yeah, I don't mind it really, because they're all wearing like half nothing, and
Sure, why
there's
not?
like 5 hot girls up there
Hey,
dancing.
they think of you like their brother. You should you should tone that
I'm talking
down.
about you too, though. I mean, you know, I get 5 hot girls, not 4.
That's right. They're all up there shaking.
Yeah,
their
I was
thing.
sitting there going, "Who's the fifth?"
She's funny like that. She's funny.
We've been together a long time.
Yes. Yeah, and you know, it's this. Like I said, you were talking about how professional they are, and it comes off as that on stage. And you know, for somebody that enjoys being entertained, it just I mention it because you can go to other shows and you just there's some parts of it that kind of just feel dead. It's like, and also Alicia, she's in step with everybody, you know,
Yeah.
which
You got to beat her too.
what's that?
We have to beat her too to make
You
sure
have to make
gets
sure she does it right.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's something that you
You're off camera. That's enough.
it's something that you typically will not see of a lead singer. It's like, okay, I'll kind of like do a little shimmy shake but I'm going back to singing, but you're part of that whole
Thing,
you know,
yeah.
it's
I have such a bad memory too. It's like I don't know how they remember all that choreography. I can't even remember my own lyrics. So it takes a lot of practice for me to like come in and out
well, you do good.
and make
Yeah.
it look like it's supposed to happen.
But we always pull it
But
off.
thank you, Jeremy. That
You're
was
welcome.
really nice.
Not
of
a
you.
problem. I mean, so whatever you're doing, just keep doing that.
Okay.
Even if it's that you have bad
Even
memory.
if it feels weird.
Yeah,
I'll just
don't
keep
try
doing
to
it.
fix the memory, because maybe if you do that, you'll
Yeah.
just start messing it all
It
up.
would be too
Yeah.
disconnected.
Just go with what you're doing.
Yeah, and I
Exactly.
wouldn't have anything to joke about on stage, which
Right.
is the best. That's
Yeah,
my favorite
because there's
thing.
like little interludes that you guys will do, and
Yeah, about the mafia and Victor's problems and stuff.
Yeah, which is my problems.
Well, you know. you have
I feel kind of on the spot right
well, it's a good thing we only have 3 minutes left, right?
now. Right. Yeah. No.
So we have Vava Voom, To the Moon, that's coming out. We have what's the fighter's name again? Sorry,
Oh, Liz Carmouche.
Liz Carmouche is going to have
She's
it at
fighting
the
Misha
opening,
Tate.
on the 19th.
She's gonna
in
walk
April.
out to
She's going to walk out to
And
a
it'll be on
remix version.
Fox, so we don't have to pay for it.
That's
Yeah.
even better. You know, you're going to get some airplay on
Get a lot of viewers.
national exposure. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And that song's doing very well. Again, you can go to the JeremyWomackShow.com. There, I put the video link there. You can watch it. It's a fun video. I also suggest checking out International.
Yeah.
Again, a favorite song of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Fansofjimmycentury.com is the website.
Or Facebook / fans of Jimmy Century.
Yep, you can go to Facebook and on Twitter as well. And
Instagram.
you're
Now,
very
Twitter is only Jimmy Century. It's
Jimmy Century. Okay.
You know how Twitter doesn't let you have a
I'll
really
have a
long
really
name.
long thing. So just Jimmy Century on Twitter, but
Yeah.
very active with your site and with social media, and talking about, the real interaction with fans, that show that I saw at the Palms, I mean, you guys, after the show was over, anyone that wanted to talk to you, you gave attention to. And obviously you're like, we thank you for coming out and supporting us, but you don't really see that often either. It's like you came out and just said, thank you for coming. It wasn't just like, it didn't seem half-assed. It was like you were genuine, okay, I'm going to give this person attention now. And even with me, you were talking with someone else and you recognized me, kind of, oh, see you in a second kind of thing, and continue talking to someone else. And that's, that's kind of the show, is I want you guys to know what they're all about besides their music, and then that will make you appreciate the music more and
that's cool.
and be a bigger fan, I think.
Yeah.
So
That's actually
cool.
that Palm Show where Jakey Lee was at, and I didn't even know he was there. It's the first time he met us. We didn't meet him because I walked by and shook his hand, but then I found out in Seven Magazine that he was at our show. And then, so we didn't meet him until after a little bit after that. I was like,
and now
oh my
you guys are
God.
shopping buddies.
Yeah, I would have been freaking out. But yeah, that's what we try to do. After we get done and go out there and talk to the audience.
And it's really cool.
Stay
I
connected.
think that if you guys keep doing that and do what you're doing, you're going to see nothing but more success.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's
And I'll
much
give you a
more
little
fun for us
secret,
that
too.
way. It's definitely no. You're giving us a lot of nice credit, but it's so much more fun.
And like on
It wouldn't be
Facebook-
fun if I didn't know what was going on.
And Facebook and that kind of stuff, pretty much everyone talking back and forth is me and Alicia, it's not management or anything like that
Right.
because of iPhones. So we're
I
able to do
only
that.
talk through my fans of Jimmy Century now. I don't know what that is. What
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
I won't talk through my personal page anymore. It's like I'm hiding behind the
But
band.
it is Alicia. So if people go there and you actually are talking to us and not
Yeah,
someone
Victor doesn't.
Yeah.
we pay.
Jeremy knows that.
I know that. I'm like, I think I can
He knows the
tell
difference.
which one is talking to
Pretty
me.
much
I
never
spell
me
well.
because
You never called
I'm
me Sultan, I know
dyslexic
that.
and
Yeah.
not that bright.
yeah, that was Victor calling you
Yes,
the
of course,
Sultan of
of course.
Sunsets.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Well, thanks guys for coming in. I certainly
Yeah.
appreciate it. This
Thank you.
And
Thank
this will be,
you.
if you missed any of the show, it'll be archived on YouTube, and then it'll go on my site later, thejeremywomackshow.com. Again, check out their videos, their website, and all that. Pleasure, and I'll have to have you guys come in again sometime soon. So
You're
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you, Sultan.
thanks guys for hanging out today. jeremywomackshow.com. Thanks to George on the board there, and we'll see you
Thank
tomorrow.
you, George.
Thank you, George.